Hello, everyone. Throw yourself on mute. I can hear you in the background. Please. Thank you. Welcome back to Brian's Crazy Hour of Frivolity. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know what happened, but as soon as I hit the record button, somebody's microphone picked up some stuff. Yeah, you can hear it. I don't know. These shows. I'm not quite sure if people have gotten value out of these offerings, but here we are. We're back again. Took a couple weeks off there. Actually, at the end of the last school term, took a little bit of a mini vacation. Needed a bit of a break from the insanity of this crazy world. Unfortunately, though, I found out that I came down a little bit of a health scare there. I think I'm okay. I'm okay. You're okay. Who knows? But anyway, I was supposed to have a doctor's visit here this afternoon, but the doctor stood me up. So hopefully, Canadian socialized medicine. What that means is they're so swamped with people that they figure are really sick, and they can just down prioritize people that they don't think are on death's doorstep. Hopefully that's the way I'm going to interpret it. I was a little bummed though that I sat here for the better part of today waiting and nobody bothered to get in contact with me, so probably an interesting sign of the times as well. Anyway, I'm very fortunate in that I've got a few assistants on the site that have helped me through the summer here. Walk our way through this crypto universe. So we had a fun little sort of challenge. Could we go through and create a nice little spreadsheet, just an overview of the top 100 cryptocurrencies out there right now, and just sort of give our 2 cents as to what the heck they do, what's their sort of the driver behind them, the fundamental story, and then Brian, a little bit of chat about charts. So we took a couple weeks off, but we're back in the saddle tonight. I asked the boys if they'd like to get together. We got 2 out of 3 of them here tonight, so that's not so bad. Tonight we got Nick on the call here this evening. How you doing this evening, Nick?
Doing great. Happy to be back.
Excellent. Awesome. And we have Ben, Mr. Wyckoff himself. I think I'd make you famous here. We got Ben on the call tonight. How are you doing this evening, Ben?
I'm doing great. Yeah. It's gone. Has graduated to Bancor now.
Bancor, that's right.
Yeah. I won't take it as far as Jack, but.
Yeah, and unfortunately that's Brian just being terrible. We have a couple ladies on the site and they're like, Brian, you silly 12-year-old, when are you gonna grow up? But I have silly potty humor. So we were making a joke on the site that Mr. Wyckoff, Richard Wyckoff, who's a very famous technical analyst, very serious, all that, right? But Brian said that Mr. Y had decided that he was going to drop the Y, and actually his real name was Jack. So we have to call him by his proper name. Being stupid, I know. But if anything, what I do like is, and I don't know why, and I don't know how this happens, but I actually like to make it a goal of mine to make you guys famous. And interesting, maybe we'll stumble into each other 10, 20 years down the road and we'll remember our fun little Bancor analogy. And it's hopefully a great way everybody that watches these videos will remember this funny little story and Ben part of Brian's crazy crypto adventures. Do you guys feel like you're learning something with regard to TA with these videos?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's almost, it's like not the level of like I don't want to say it's like another class that TRI offers, but I've learned an immense amount.
Well, that's good.
From it.
And Ben, what do you think? Do you look for Bancor checks now every day?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Now I can't look at a chart without that being in the back of my mind, so it sticks.
Excellent.
It's the
Perfect.
best way to learn.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Okay, so we had a pretty good rhythm going there through the summer, and I will admit things kind of fell off the wheels fell off the tricycle there a little bit for myself, my personal health, and then I don't know if you guys are finding it, but man, this 2022 year or I guess 2021. Very, very stressful, like mentally taxing. It's a challenge just to try and keep your head on straight day in, day out. It is for me.
No, 100% agree.
Yeah? Is it the same for you guys?
Absolutely.
So, Ben, you got a little one, don't you?
Yeah. She actually just got sick this week, so it's yeah, it's been a bit like that.
Yeah, I just and ironically enough, probably dealing with the little ones might be a little easier. Dealing with the adults through this environment is just chaos. Like I said, I mean, when do you ever hear doctors not bothering to show up for appointments? I mean, when does that happen? I mean, what the hell's going on in this world?
Yeah.
It's just this one thing after another, right? Anyway, hopefully, you're watching this video and you get a tidbit here and there where you go, oh, I never heard that before. Oh, I never seen that before. You kind of look at this video as edutainment, part education, and part just laugh at the Beamish. You might as well. Everybody else does. And my silly antics in the market. And it's great. I've got my two co-hosts. Nick here today, though, he's made a promise that he's going to try and be a bit of a good cop, bad cop with me here today and try and keep me in line so we can get through the rest of the list here tonight. See if we can wind it up here heading into September. I guess today is September, but into the Labor Day weekend, so we're all ready for the adults coming back. I don't know. Do we want to talk a little bit of corn right off the bat? Looks like anybody who had a bullish bent last week, I think we did pretty well. Anybody who had a bearish bent probably got run over here. So I can't remember how this scoring works. You guys remember how this works? I think
a one we were thinking that it'd be like less than a 5% increase in the price.
0 was flat, and then -1 was like down less than 5%, and then I guess we don't even have a 2 on here or not, eh? Did have a bullish reading over here by Ben way back when, so I guess that was right. But interesting how we had uppy, and even the Beamish, he was uppy. The only one who actually, I guess, got left behind here was Nick. So I guess we'll give a passing grade. I don't know where Derek is. I guess we missed him, but awfully short notice. Like I said, I wasn't around past couple weeks, so kind of let the team down a little bit. But here we are. I guess we can go 090121. And what's a closing print here? I guess it's about 40, 45, 46, 47, somewhere in there. Where are we?
I usually check it. I didn't.
Where is the current price? And that's not going to help me much. Oh, there we are. 48.8. Ooh, nice move. So, good 10 Gs, eh? 9 Gs. So, that says to me, probably, I guess, about a good, 20-30% appreciation. So I don't know whether we want to try and do this and sort of have some inertia for after the break. But good to see. Quite an uppy market. What do you think? Should we do a poll? What do you think? Do we go higher from here? Or is this it?
What's the time frame? Because we had been doing weekly. This last one was a month.
Was it a full month? I thought we just missed 2 weeks.
It was 8-4 to 9-1, it looks like.
Isn't that interesting? I didn't realize we missed so much. I didn't think we missed that long.
I guess that's 3.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, it was 4 weeks ago we did the last one. Wow, something doesn't sound right. Oh well, it is what it is. I don't know. It doesn't really. Does it even really matter? What do you think? You think it's going to go up, down, or sideways? I'm going to vote. I find it really hard to believe that we're going to move a hell of a lot higher. I think 50 G's was a big fat round number. So I'm going to say 0. I'm going to just do a neutral vote. I think if anything, on balance, if you were looking for uppy, I think we give you a passing grade, and Nick just said, "Meh," you were thinking 0. So I don't know. What do you think? Yeah, you think we're gonna tread water here? You think we're heading higher? You think we're heading lower? What do you think?
I mean, I know September is usually a bad month. I'm deciding between a 1 and a 2.
Oh, really? You're that bullish?
Yeah.
All right. Well, why don't we give you a 1.5?
I've been a dirty bear for months, so.
All right. Well, just you know what they say: don't chase, don't chase, don't chase.
Oh, I'm just saying what I think will happen. I still got to play my setups.
Oh, hey, I like the sound of that. Right? Buy W's. You know, the whole damn thing. All right.
And if it does
Derek,
go
we're
up,
going to say Absentia. We'll see if he gets a vote next week. And Ben, what do you think? What are you feeling? You feeling neutral?
I'm feeling neutral on the coin at the moment.
All right.
Yeah.
So Nick's over the top bullish, but Ben and I are gonna just cool our jets for a little bit. And if anything, I like the idea that probably into Labor Day weekend, probably not the best idea to get like overly bullish here. I'm a little worried that crypto kids are going to get really punched in the nose by these grown-ups after the break. Well, we'll see how it goes.
I'm just kind of hoping the next few days is good so I can sell some stuff that reaches target.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily looking to buy more, just looking to reach targets where I can sell.
So you want that push. Come on, give me that push.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I don't know whether you guys participated in the Luna or not, but wow, did that ever pay us off big time this summer. So
Yeah, that was a fantastic one.
Not only, monetarily, but also I think a lot of the site members really bought into Sjord's story, and of course, they did quite well. So, there is Terra Luna. I don't even know. It'd be interesting at the end of this study to do a top 100 names and see who's still in there and who's left. Like this Solana. Where was it at the beginning? Was it all the way up here
It
at
was 17, but now it's like 7 or...
Yeah, man, it must be
6
just
maybe.
going absolutely insane, eh? I mean, it's interesting on the site. I said not interested here because, of course, I got the impression that Solana and Luna kind of did the same thing. So that was my pick, but holy moly, that SOL sure went nuts, eh? That was probably, I think that's one of the biggest winners of the summer, eh? That'd be interesting.
It definitely is.
Actually, it'd be just interesting. Let's go take a look at the chart, just for argument's sake. So I was looking for a push back up into the 55 area. Be interesting. Let's see what actually happened here. I don't know. I mean, should we? Or have we got a lot
We
of
can.
new
Let's
names?
do it. I'm gonna keep us on a 5
sounds good.
minutes of talking. So.
All right. And we're using. We're gonna use Colin's Chart X Pro site. So if it happens to be a DeFi name, at least we can see it from here. So what was that? That was SOL and holy Jesus! Look at all this crap. What the? Maybe we shouldn't use this site.
For smaller coins, I think ChartX Pro is really good. For the big ones, you could definitely still use TradingView if you
So
want.
just stick with TradingView. All right. Actually, you know what? Coinigy's got their act together. They're all coming back with piss and vinegar here. So we should probably see. Well, what the hell? Good old Will and Rob. Actually, now they're senior vice presidents at this company. Was actually acquired by another financial services company, and now they're senior vice presidents. But anyway, so This used to be, we used to do a lot of work with the Coinergy guys, actually, and a lot of people that sort of run into me over the years, they actually ran into me through the Fibonacci tutorials that I did on Coinergy. Geez, I think those videos got something like hundreds of thousands of hits. It's quite remarkable. Okay, so I don't know. We'll try to use Coinergy. I haven't used them in a while, but let's see. What market were we using to study this on? Do you guys remember? What would be the best place to look?
Probably Binance, do you think?
Binance? See, I'm worried about Binance because theoretically Americans are not really supposed to be using this site, eh? Okay, so I think that does not look familiar. This is USDT. Not quite sure what we want to be looking at.
I was gonna say, I think this was pretty close, and we were just probably right at like that end of July mark. So we were way lower in price. We were at, I want to say,
down in here.
price.
So if I go and pull up that old price chart.
Oh god, it was back at the beginning of June.
Yeah, so there we are when we studied this. Great analogy of sell in May and walk away. So May 24th was your bottom there on the market. So where's that? Oh, that's right in here. Actually, this is a really good example. Actually, looking at this price chart, what am I thinking here, Nick? Let's see if Nick can read my mind.
You're thinking a bot?
Yeah, very good. Is that what you were thinking, Ben? I don't know whether, Ben, you're not in the education program.
I was thinking I'm about to do the level 1 course. So
are you? You decided to join us?
Yeah.
He took the plunge.
I'll be doing it. Yeah.
Oh, good for you. Good for you. All right. Question is, where do you draw the bottom of the range off of? Because considering you have those 3 higher lows, I'd really like to see the 33% hit that level. So if I'm doing bots, maybe something like, what's the best way to do this? You can see I got all my foggy boggy levels on here. Isn't that interesting? So I must have been using this recently. 33, and we don't want to see more than 66. So if you're not familiar with the bot, this is what I used to get funded as a prop crew trader. So I must be set on log. Aha, there's why it's not working. All right, so and it was a pretty precipitous drop, wasn't it? So actually, I think we can go a little bit further back, do the whole range. That's not terrible. So the way I would look at this is I would go boomity boom, then boomity boom. What I want to see is 3 higher lows, and I want to enter off of 25% of the range. Gonna risk, as soon as the market moves 50% of the anticipated move, I'm gonna move my stop to scratch. And if it moves 66% of the anticipated move, then I'm going to start locking in profits. And of course, 100% of the move would be my price objective. So as you can see from this image, the bot would have me. Oh yeah, look at that, perfect. And I often see this happen, folks. It's so cliche. Do you like bar chart? Do you like candle charts? And 6 one, half dozen the other. What I really want to see is I want to see a bunch of lows that, what we teach in our education program is somebody came along through this window right here and said, no more down. Somebody was selling, but at the same time, somebody is absorbing all those sell orders, sucking up all the product. Then you see dead cat bounce away, and they tried to push it against that low again. So there's another attempt at that low. Now what I want to see, because I'm chicken shit by nature, everybody, just understand that. So what I want to see is I want to see a bunch of examples where the institutions came in, whoever it is, somebody stopped the bear on those 2 bars, bang, bang. Somebody stopped the bear on these 2 bars, bang, bang. All right, this is what we call an institutional fingerprint. You can actually literally see where the smart money stopped the bear. And the bot basically has you going long at the 25 level. And in essence, what this does is, Is the market going to do an A, B, C, D, which is a pretty typical move, and actually interesting how that stopped there. What this does is it breaks the trade up. So there's my risk window. And if I'm right, there's my reward window. And in trading, what we really want to do is we want to make sure green box bigger than red box. It's critical. That's the only way you're going to survive at this game. So, point of the matter here is I'd actually think if I was trading this, think I'd get a signal in here. Pretty big risk, don't get me wrong. But that just simply means you got to be patient and disciplined and wait for a serious payday. Now, the good part about this is, and this is you probably heard me say this before, this is an opportunity where if I trade the bot level, notice that that's $33. And notice 78 is my target. Well, that's more than double. So what do you think Brian's going to be doing if we can get up to, say, $66? Say somewhere up in this area here. If I buy here and I get up into this area, oh, well, my capital just doubled. So I would definitely be banging out a double. Sell half on a double, get yourself a risk-free trade. And in that situation, maybe you sell some more at the bot target. It's up to you. But if you got a risk-free trade, I love risk-free trades. Because I couldn't give a shit what's going to happen following. And sure enough, you'd be sitting on this just giggling right now. In fact, I'd even make an argument that if you sold half on a double there at 65, well, then you should probably have another order working to sell up at 130. Oh, and gee whiz, look what just happened. So this is a really good example if you're going to hunt a setup. I got 3 higher lows. I got nice W's, got lots of anecdotal evidence. The institutions have stopped the slide. You can even, if you want to, wait for the trend line break. And then just, there is the trend line break, and just give me some sort of W on the other side of this trend line, and we're good to go. And I remember there's that funny little guy that was on the Crypto Cobain show. The guy who goes, "Yeah, I got no neck. Fuck you." Okay, now let's talk about making some money. I love that guy. Total attitude. And he was absolutely in love with this thing. He's like, yeah, you'd be an idiot not to be in this thing. It's the next best thing since sliced bread. And sure enough, I guess he was right. So I didn't do this trade. In the notepad, I think I had noted that I was like, meh, no big deal. Where was that spreadsheet? It's around here somewhere. Over here. I was kind of like, man, it's not really my cup of tea. I think it was in the process of bottoming over here. This is interesting. This is on, this is tethers on Binance. So that was that formation. I guess it came down once more and then bottomed.
Yeah, because I think that's only showing the first of the 3 lows there.
Yeah, so this was still a bit early. And maybe that makes sense. But I did find it interesting that, seeing how this has developed, I guess that was right in there. And being not interested right here, I think that's not a bad idea, right? There had to be some work that had to get done. The W comes in on the other side of the trend line. If we look down at our momentum indicators, if they're Wing out, if we see that volume is ramping up, well, you got your trade and, of course, good old bot levels. Ironically enough, this happens a lot where you can actually literally see the W setting up right off the damn bot level. I didn't do this one, but notice that this is, and I actually, it's kind of funny. Somebody else actually clued into this. I didn't even clue into this, but SHOD, sell half on a double, and then SHOD. Like, this is the way that I like to trade, where you're always long, and this thing will just keep paying you as it keeps going up and up and up. And every time it doubles again, you let them have another half. Let them have another half. Let them have another half. And this, I've done countless examples of this where you get like 4 or 5 off. This is probably a good example. 2 doubles off. Like I said, I didn't do this because I had where the hell is it? not that one, not that one. Oh, I guess it is this one. I had the Luna, and you can see Luna is basically the same trade. So there was the summer bottom, sold initial first sell half on a double, and then it just doubled again, sold another half on a double. So it's kind of the same thing, eh? It's pretty similar. Congratulations to your, the SOL people. What do you think, guys? Let's do a simple poll. Do you think Brian be interested in coming in and buying up here?
Don't chase.
I'd say no.
Good. So, what's a guy to do if you did want to buy here? And this is the shitty part about trading. Is, frankly speaking, I just don't know where this top is. And if it just keeps doubling, well, I'll just keep selling abs on doubles, and I can show you. We had in the stock market last year, a great example of one of these crypto currencies. I don't think I have it written up here. You can go look at my Twitter feed. But in the cryptocurrency space, and I remember there was this Barstool guy who fancied himself a trader, and he just got his absolute ass kicked on this thing. But this is the way that we traded this thing at TRI. Nice and simple. So how many doubles is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 doubles. And you can see I've got my 7th sell half on a double order ready to go. So can you do this on cryptocurrencies? Fuck yeah, man. Everybody go find Verge. Verge is a great one. Tell me what the actual cryptocurrency topped out at. I bought my Verge at 2 sats and sold half on a double the whole way up, and I still own some Verge when the whole damn thing was done. So, the point of the matter here is I like this kind of approach because I'm not very smart. This is keep it really, really simple. It's not outsmarting the market. It's just I'm here to make money from trading. Asset doubles, out goes half. Asset doubles, out goes half. Asset sits there and does nothing. I sit there and do nothing. It's that simple. Anyway. Okay, kind of a fun conversation there to get us going. I'm sure I did. Look at that. It's already 6:30. Where's that timer guy that said after 5 minutes?
We haven't started our first coin.
All right.
Don't worry, I got this. We'll go.
What's our first coin? Who's our first victim? And what did you think? Was that worth going through the walkthrough on that?
Oh heck yeah! I mean that's like a perfect bot to actually explain, and then because of the severity of the price action, you actually had an opportunity to talk about selling halves on doubles and quarters or quadruples, and
yeah, that's
good.
Capitalism 101. Sell half on a triple, yeah, rocker. Now it's. I think our theme now is sell half on a foggy. So if you understand Foggenbaum, the irony of it all is I'd want to sell half on a double, but it turns out the Foggenbaum level is 2.618. So, Cracker's back at 2 sats, eh? Although now, we're in a completely different environment now. I don't know. I don't think I really want to step in on those pieces of shit now. And it's the end of the season, too. Oh, boy. How do you define a free bag? If I can sell half of the thing on a double, then basically that gets my money right back in my hands. So once that's happened, it's a free bag as far as I'm concerned. Silvano? Okay, should I take a screenshot of this? Is it worth saving, or should we just get on with it?
I think that's a pretty good education screenshot right there. But
you know what I heard, and maybe you guys can touch base with Josh. I'm so impressed with Josh and his social media stuff. He actually wants to NFT all of this stuff out, which I think is so awesome. That might even be an NFT image. How do you bang out doubles on popular cryptocurrencies? Because that was so textbook. Like I said, we didn't do this one. We did the Luna, but basically it was a very similar story. Okay, let's get on with it here, or we're going to be here all night.
So we got Nano first.
Nano, all right. And that's just, and, it's kind of cool to do Coinigy here. I'll give them some props. So, NANO, where are we going to look at this thing? USDT, do we like you looking at it versus US dollars? There is BUSD. No idea what the hell that is.
That's Binance's stablecoin. So.
All right. There is USDT. Is that Tether? I'm not quite sure how that works. Wow, look at that thing up and down like a horror's drawers, eh? So it's interesting how these kind of markets, I see a lot of this, where a lot of these markets, they carved out this funny looking head and shoulders pattern here through the summer, eh? Can you guys see that? I mean, I don't know whether you call that a head and shoulders. That's an awfully quick pullback there. But, man, I see a lot of these coins look exactly like this. And I guess the way I would just look at this is, this isn't exactly the place to be calling for, like, top of the market. You know, I'd want to see this kind of stuff. The only problem, though, is that, I think the market did have a window to rally here. And the problem is we're running out of time. I mean, that's a long period of it moving up. That's, if you do things like relative strength index, they usually only do them over 14 periods. So that's 44 periods. Things like price momentum oscillators, they're going to go from oversold to overbought with that kind of window. So just be careful here, guys. Anybody watching this stuff, yes, we're making higher highs and higher lows. But as we're entering the Labor Day weekend, what I've found over the years is that once the adults come back, probably the second or third week of September, somebody says something and fucking all hell breaks loose in this crypto space. And usually the market bottoms the end of December, right? Beginning the first week of January. And then we start going into the silly season where it's like just shooting fish in a barrel. It's really easy to make money coming out of the end of the year. So just be careful. The interesting thing about this, we teach, let's see if, I guess Derek's not here, so we can't quiz him. But Nick should know this from the level 1. But we teach one specific fib that you should expect this level to be traded to just to actually test whether the previous bear is actually even over yet or not. What fib's that, Nick? Any ideas?
The 382.
38.2?
Yeah, I said 382. Yeah, 38.2.
So if we look at it from this perspective, I'm going to have to flip it around. You can see, and really this kind of makes sense, right? This high, anybody who bought this move right here, through the entire summer, they've been sleeping on the couch, just dying 1,000 deaths. And it's just starting to come back into that area. And my hunch is, maybe if we're lucky, we're still pushing higher here out of the end of August into September. It's actually technically the 1st of September now, isn't it? So August is over. We're running out of time. But if we're lucky, because this is a really weird Labor Day weekend this year. Labor Day is actually on the 6th. So Labor Day is coming very, very late this year. Usually Labor Day is like the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd of September. It's not till the 6th of September. So this is a holiday here. And Tuesday, usually what you find is, very late sort of Monday afternoon, you're going to start to see sort of the adults start to trickle back. And then, like Tuesday, and they always talk about Tuesday, turnaround Tuesday. Tuesday's usually when sort of the pros are officially back. So that means we still technically have the better part of a week for them to mess around this. And of course, into holiday weekends, there's always craziness in crypto. Have you guys found in your studies of crypto that around holiday weekends things get a little bit wonky?
Yeah, I think it's just because it seems to be a lot of lack of volume, and so a lot of crazy
Yeah,
stuff can
I
kind of
mean, a lot of
happen.
people go on holiday, so in low liquidity environments, people can push prices around pretty easily. Point that I would just say here is, could you be a buyer at that level right there? That's kind of dangerous. Hey, there you go. Fidelity suggests Bitcoin could rise to $100 million. If that isn't a sign of a top, I don't know what is. Here we go, folks. Give me a break. Oh, wonderful.
That's only a 2000x, Brian. If I
Oh,
did my
that's
math
it?
right.
Yeah, that's not bad. Excuse me. Okay, so just looking at this chart. Also, too, and I also really am a big fan of this word confluence. So what we really want to do is we want to look at our charts. We want to use a bunch of sort of studies and analysis methodologies to come up with levels. And I specifically drew this head and shoulders pattern. You often see the right-hand side of the head and shoulders is very quick. What I really want to see is I want to see a horizontal neckline. And what I'd really like to see is I'd like to see a bullish divergence in my MACD indicator off of this low. So I could be really curious to see. I'm not quite sure if I have this even set up. It's been a while since I've used this platform, but oh yeah, here we are, TRI model. Let's just, for simplicity though, I'm just going to try and make this as quick as possible.
That's good because we're at our 5 minutes.
Yeah, I know. What the fuck, eh? This Beamish guy. God, he sure loves the sound of his own voice, eh? Are you guys enjoying yourself?
Always.
Yeah.
As soon as
We
I
all
start
love the sound
getting
of your voice.
boring and it's just like, God, shut up, right? Well, that's when I should stop. You guys are enjoying yourself. What the fuck? Okay, so as I said, what I want to see is I want to see a bullish divergence off of these lows. Can you guys all see? Let's poll the YouTube audience. Can you see how this MACD indicator, it's kind of hard to see that color. Let's maybe change it to maybe yellow. Hey, there we go. Can you see how this low is higher than this low? But notice, this low in MACD is higher. Did I say that right? This low, the head low, is lower than the left shoulder. But on the MACD indicator, it's higher, i.e. divergence. The divergence is confirmed when we actually go through the middle part of the W right here. So I'm liking the price action. Then we can also say things like, well, and we'll just do conservative, man. Let's just go like that. We won't even include the blow off top. We'll include the previous top. Boom, 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 boom. Can I get some sort of W on the other side of the trend line? Well, technically the head and shoulders is a W. It's not really the best trade location, but thinking confluence, we've got the bullish divergence, the head and shoulders patterns in. Does this sort of align with that 38.2 comment I made a few minutes ago? So if we go boom, and we go boom, and we go boom, oh, hello. Notice how the head and shoulders pattern is pretty much going to take us right into candle body highs for trade location, 38.2, and we could even do things like AB, CD. So now you can see, yes, we're getting a little bit older. In fact, you can even notice, what would we call what's happening now in price action? Can you see how the market's making higher highs, but our momentum indicator is not making higher highs? Uh-oh. So, kind of what I said there a moment ago. Is this a good idea to go and buy this here right now? I don't think so. Are we coming up into profit objectives? If you were long this thing, I can see a lot of confluence to look for probably a nice little stab of that level right there. And the irony of it all is there's probably a bunch of liquidity. There's probably like stop loss orders And like I said, all the guys who bought this here thinking, hey, this is a W. That Beamish guy says W's are bullish. I'm going to get rich. And then, oh, no. They're all going, okay, just get me the hell out of here. Just get me the hell out of here. So that's kind of what I would see here. Trade's a little bit old. We're coming out of the summer. You can see momentum-wise, we're waning here. Probably not a good idea to go and buy this right here. And the irony of it all is if I did want to buy, what I really should do is just draw my interesting how, look how 38.2 actually acted as support here. So we won't get into 38.2 conversations. Right now, I would say this is a 38.2 ping pong war. And on the site, and I know it's wasting time, but what the hell, I'm having fun. On the site, we would pass around. If I saw this image and it was something like Bitcoin or something like that, then basically I would actually probably in here. I would say this is a 38.2 ping pong match. And whoever's going to win this match is going to carry the trade. So hopefully you can see these are 38.2 ping pongs. 38.2 ping pong to the upside, 38.2 ping pong to the downside. If we lose 38.2 to the downside, then actually that's going to create an M top here, right? Up, down, up, see you later. So if I want to, you can see the war. The war zone is right in there. Probably not the best place for new money to come in and fight a war. You don't know how the hell what's... what I'm really worried about, and, it's kind of getting off topic, but I think it's important enough just to mention, is I do believe that in the month of September, October, my sort of big Bitcoin prognostication when I do my weekly shows, Broiler Chickens, and I talk to the people on the site through my daily brief appearances, I like the idea that there is going to be some sort of shock that's going to hit the crypto market here, just like back in 13. I don't know how we play this out. I guess the top here is going to be, $100 million now. Woohoo! We're all rich! Problem is, it's going to take $5,000 to buy a fucking loaf of bread. But anyway, that's here nor there. And actually, this is a really good commentary on why Bitcoin probably could hit $100 million. Is this. I think this is super important. Number one, I think that the banksters and all of these crooks that are in this banking industry, I think they realize that, hey, they got a problem with these stable coins. Because quite literally, the size of the stable coin right now is just a fraction of the entire capital market. But if they don't get on top of this, it's almost like you could argue that somebody who prints up a stable coin, to all intents and purposes, is counterfeiting US dollars. So I wouldn't be surprised if these cocksuckers actually want to corner the market and control it. And my hunch is they're going to do it through the Goldman Sachs deemed acceptable stable coin. But we'll see what happens. That's pure conjecture. But the point here is that what scares me now is, these idiots have gone and just completely fucked the monetary system up. I mean, just staggeringly so. How they fucked the monetary system up. So bad that actually, gentlemen, that I'm a professional. I used to trade on the fucking floor of the CME. I mean, I was a broker. I used to sit there. Hey, Mr. Broker, what do you say we do? I buy, sell, hedge. I mean, this is a guy that I look up to. He's, I tell people in the courses to go read the Market Wizards books because, that's how you're going to learn what a fucking real trader's life's like, is to listen to other real traders, not some idiot trying to sell some course. So go, listen to the actual traders. I have a high regard for Mr. Druckenmiller. If I was going to have a guy to look up to, it would be Mr. Druckenmiller. And Mr. Druckenmiller, and this scares me, because, if you listen to the banksters, they say that cryptocurrency is an idea looking for a problem to solve. And it can't find one, because the banksters, they believe that the public has bought their con of what they're doing to the US dollar as the world's hegemony currency, which is it's a crime what they're doing for whatever it's worth. But Mr. Druckenmiller, as part of the institutional foundation of our society, the real professional money managers, they are now saying, well, you know what crypto is? Crypto is actually, it's found its role. It is going to solve the problem of Jerome Powell, i.e., the smart money, the people who run our society, like the actual real 1%. In fact, I would even say Jerome Powell's bosses, they see what the Fed and the banksters are doing. And they're like, well, actually, it looks like cryptocurrency is going to solve our problem with you guys. And, Fidelity comes out with a $100 million price target because they see, I hate to say it, folks, but this is getting really scary what's going to happen. We might very easily be in a sort of, Weimar Republic, 1920s Germany scenario where quite literally you might see out in the streets of the USA and Canada and maybe even Great Britain and shit, you have to take a wheelbarrow of this crap paper fiat money to go and buy a loaf of bread. That's how serious this is getting. And what really bothers me is when people like this, because he is a kind of guy that'll move like tens of billions of dollars around, hundreds of billions of dollars, maybe even as much as $1 trillion. That's how influential this guy is. And they have completely lost confidence in Jerome Powell. And that's the key to this. The whole key to capitalism is confidence. If the market does not have confidence in the underlying issue, whatever the hell you want to call it, could be, 200 years ago, the British pound, 100 years ago, the German mark, 200 years, 300 years ago, the Dutch whatevers they were using, the Spanish whatevers, right? Every 80, 90 years, we go through this situation where the market just completely loses confidence in whatever the quote-unquote stable fiat hegemony currency is. And it scares me immensely that the guy like this has lost confidence in the Fed, and he's actually like, well, actually crypto has found its problem to solve. The problem is, what the fuck are these people doing to our society and this US dollar? They have completely lost their minds. I would say that they haven't lost their minds, that this actually was planned all along, that everybody inside the Fed and the banking system knows that the US dollar is worthless, and it's just really a question of time of when it breaks. Boom. This is getting, we're into the end game here over the next, let's say, 6 to 12 months. And this could get absolutely insane, folks. So it's interesting how Willy Woo actually was backing off his sort of bullish expectations. Man, his upside objectives might be laughable if this US dollar really starts collapsing in earnest here. It's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. But first, I think these guys are going to take a run at things like Tether. And they're going to take a run at things like, we were talking about Binance and their stablecoin. I think they want them out of the market. And ironically enough, it might actually be their legislation that outlaws Tether and stuff that actually drives this. Because what I see what's happening right now is there's a massive flood of all of these, stable coins and shit. They're all hitting the exchanges. Why? Because this smart money that's sitting on millions and millions of dollars of this shit, they don't want to be fucking caught bag holding. So they're dumping it on the exchanges, they're converting it to Bitcoin, and my hunch is they're probably taking the Bitcoin and getting the fuck off the market. So this is really scary stuff that's going on here, folks. Really scary. Oh, goodness. And the interesting thing is you can actually see the end game happening here. Oh, God. So, sorry to derail everybody. I know that was terribly rude of me, but I really needed to get that out. I don't know. What do you think, guys? Was that of any value, that rant there? Have I got you guys all shitting your pants now?
No, I mean, it's a very real scare. And so whether somebody's hearing it from you or if they've heard it elsewhere, I think it's important to get out.
So you are hearing it from other sources as well, the same sort of message?
Oh yeah, lots.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was a survey kind of similar to the tweet that you were talking about. There was a survey that Deloitte did with a bunch of bankers, and like something stupid like 70% of them or something. That number's probably wrong, but a majority for sure of bankers thought that within 5 to 10 years, crypto could overtake fiat currency as a reserve currency.
Yeah, well, probably what we use. And the scary part is, how are they going to tie the sickness into this? And does everybody get like a vaccination, address or something? And now, boom, you are now officially on the blockchain for the rest of your life. It wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't. But I think that's still a year or two away. I don't think that's quite here yet. Anyway. Okay, so bottom line here is this Nano. I'm not even quite sure what the fundamental story is. I think I walked you through levels here. Coming into the end of the summer, I'm thinking, this move is waning. It's probably had the better part of it. And, I think I even heard Nick saying, he's hoping that we get a little bit more push higher in some of his names and stuff. And if you did get a bit of a push higher here, I would try like the Dickens, because keep in mind this bottom's like $3, $4, $5. If we can get up into that $7, $8, $9, $10 area, for heaven's sakes, please, get at the very least half of the position off so you get a risk-free trade. So that's what I would be saying there. Fundamentally, I don't know. Do we want to talk about this at all? Fundamentally, what the heck do these guys do?
I mean, real quick, it's a peer-to-peer kind of currency network, and so it's the three things that I think are pretty neat about it is there are no fees connected to like trading Nano, like on the Nano network. Obviously, if you're buying it on an exchange, you're going to incur whatever fees they have. They say it's like eco-friendly, but that's kind of just because the supply is out there. And then it does have instant transfers as well. So it's supposedly instant and free to transfer money. And
That's
so
cool.
It does seem to have a really good fundamental use case. I don't know who's using it. And
So
if you don't
I'd
have
be
the
curious.
users,
So really, it's just this thing is moving up because of just sort of the whole sort of broader market inertia, right?
I
now?
imagine so.
So no, like sort of fundamental driver story, like, hey, everybody's doing it because they're coming out with this product. No.
Don't think it's that one.
I was hoping I could find a question mark icon here, but I'm not quite sure exactly which way this is going to break here. You just have to sort of go with whichever way it's gonna break. Ben, any comments here fundamentally about this thing? You know the story?
I only a little bit, just from hearing back in the day when it used to be, was it Ryblox?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's like a
Nano
fast-
Ledger, that doesn't sound. I seem to remember there was like a Nano thing that people bought. Maybe it was
Yeah,
something.
so Ledger is like a USB storage
Yeah,
device.
is
for
that these
Bitcoin.
same guys?
I
No.
think it's not related.
It is not. This
Oh.
right here, what they can't see me. This is a Nano.
Oh,
It's a hardware device for your wallet to kind of add some protection to it.
yeah,
that is
but
very
that's not
different from
these
this.
guys, eh? That's
Nope,
something
very
else.
different from this.
All right. Well, so there's my 2 cents for whatever it's worth. I wouldn't buy it here. And if you want to work stink bids, clearly the place where you want to work stink bids, of course, good old reload zones. So that would be like 78.6, maybe even 88.6 if you want to get really cheap ass. And you can see that's basically right down at the bottom here. So that's, if I did really want to buy this thing, I'd probably be hunting down in here. So. Okay, I'll throw that in the spreadsheet, and I'm just gonna, what I would just, where's the spreadsheet? I don't know whether we're gonna be able to do all 8 of these here, guys. I'm sorry, I'm just talking way too much, but what the
Hey,
hell?
I don't mind.
Maybe we just
I
have
will
to have
go
an
through
excuse to
too
meet
many.
again, eh?
Heck yeah.
That's it.
One thing that I do think is important, because Rocker asked a nice question, and I know I've heard you explain it, but some people probably haven't. But he was wondering, or they were wondering, like, he thought that you were a US dollar bull. Can you explain how do both of those scenarios match up?
You're probably not going to like my answer, guys. I would not be surprised if by the end of this transition period, we actually have to go through a period of martial law. And I wouldn't be surprised if we actually get legislation over the next 2 or 3 years that requires all cryptocurrency people to, register their keys with some sort of government agency, KYC, all that bullshit. I would not be surprised if there is actually some sort of major war with DeFi and government agencies over the next few years as well. The issue that I would have with being US dollar bullish is it's not really like I'm overly enthusiastic about fiat currencies. It's just really a question of whose shit stinks the least. And I might make the argument that over the past 20 years, the U.S. economy actually was in a very, very precarious situation. And that's this kind of conversation. The irony of it all, of course, is that as everybody sort of looks at prices printed in the newspaper, you look at this and you go, gee whiz, it looks like it's a bull market. It looks like, especially if we do something like logarithmic, you say, well, that looks like a relatively healthy bull, Brian. They're just, managing the economy. The only problem with that, of course, is that, we live in and I always had a real problem with this because, fucking Newton's, what first law of physics, right? What goes up must come down, or, whoever the hell it is, the guy, Newton and all that kind of stuff. Matter cannot be created nor destroyed. A body in motion stays in motion. A body at rest stays at rest. Those are the physical laws of our universe. So how the fuck do you explain this? And the irony of it all is that, I hate to say it, folks, this is a lie. It is not real. Why? Because sadly, and that's this image, there was a politician who, about 100 years ago, said, look at it, you want to play in the stock market, it's your own fucking business. This is a risk. This is a risky, owning stocks is risky. But the banksters, of course, were given free rein to get into the market right here and control things, and they bid the market up, and they convinced the public to get in there and buy. It's the next best thing since sliced bread. Total trap. They wanted to totally screw them over. They wanted to take over the U.S. economy, and guess what? They did. The problem is that the politicians that were in charge, they actually didn't understand what the Fed was doing or what the banksters were doing. And this is where you actually can justify the whole bankster. Because this is in my opinion, this was a conspiracy. And, the sad thing is Woodrow Wilson left office almost in tears. Because he was the one who let the banksters pass the legislation that let them take over the U.S. economy. And he ended up leaving office almost in tears, saying, I've completely destroyed my country. He knew exactly what happened. The sad thing is Jefferson himself. He was really bummed that he could see, even in like 1805, 1806, 1807, that the banksters were already at work to try and dismantle this beautiful thing called the United States of America and the Constitution and actual individual rights and freedoms under a law system. And I might argue that the banksters have basically spent the past 200 years trying to dismantle that as best as they possibly can. This is a visual illustration of what they did last century. The market did not need to go up this far, this fast. The only reason why it did was because the banks just said, hey, you want money? You want credit? Come walk into our trap. People went out, borrowed money, and they bought stock on margin, all that kind of stuff. And then they pulled the rug out from underneath them. And through here, the Fed didn't say anything. Didn't say a fucking word. And literally, they took over the U.S. economy through this. It's very tragic. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, I find the whole thing stunningly tragic. Why did our human society have to go down this road? We were doing so well. You know, the fact that they were actually even able to try and give workers' rights at all. I mean, huge leaps forward. And these banksters have literally unwound the whole damn thing. So we're back to being slaves now. Sad. So, point here is, this actually was under a scenario where there couldn't be the fraud because the banksters didn't have control of the money supply. So as a result, you actually saw the real effect of stocks coming off, equity, the Great Depression. The irony of it all is all TRIers should look at this and go, well, you know, that Beamish guy says don't chase. This could be like Doge chart. Don't chase. This could be like Bitcoin in 2017, 2018. In the summer of 2017, I got into a lot of trouble for calling people bimbos for buying crypto. And, you know, the sad thing is I think that the comment was completely misconstrued, but I was right. And it turns out through the end of 2017, the market did exactly this. You know, CME event, all that. And then on the other side of that, they just pulled the rug out and the market collapsed. And we spent the next year or so just going straight down. What a coincidence. Is that image slightly familiar? So the point here is that the banksters own the situation. They own the system. So as a result, this is what the stock market looks like. But is this real? Well, it turns out that if you take out the money dilution of the system, and keep in mind, this is for everybody. This is for the people in Europe, people in Britain, people in India, for that matter, people in Canada, Australia, the whole damn thing. Because following the end of the Second World War, it was either you were part of the Soviet Union and international communist plot, or you were part of the Western system, and the United States of America was the quarterback of the winning team for the West. So that meant, you know, and especially in Europe, they were completely ravaged. They had to follow things like the Marshall Plan, so in essence, they became the bitches of the states, and the states fucked them over. Because Richard Nixon basically stole all their gold. And guys like LBJ, you know, basically funded his war on poverty with all of that money that was just borrowed from the Europeans. And then the Europeans went, can we have our gold back, please? And the Americans went, no. And, you know, it's funny. A lot of people on social media and stuff, they actually tweet out, what the hell happened in 1971? Because that's when this whole damn thing started to fall apart. So 1971 is actually right here. So this is basically where Tricky Dick told the French drove up their battleship right into New York Harbor, nice big fat battleship, and said, we're here to pick up our gold. We'd like our gold, please. And Tricky Dick just went, fuck you. And, you know, if you go online and you look at all the anecdotes, I mean, it's kind of funny, right? It's gotten very, very popular. What happened in 1971? And I'm kind of going way off topic here. I'm sorry, everybody. But as you can see, oh yeah, that's the tweet handle. What the fuck happened in 1971? But it's fun to look how, in essence, this was the end of the dream. And since 1971, we've been living in this con of we're going to, and actually it's interesting because a guy was elected in 1980, Ronald Reagan. And it was just as the baby boomers were coming online for their growth cycle. So we did not need stimulus. We did not need the U.S. government to go into massive deficit spending. Here is 1981. It's interesting. There's a famous technician, Joe Granville, who actually came out and made a very bearish call on the stock market in 1980. And you tell me, how did that call turn out? Oh my goodness. Now, why the hell did this happen? Was it really because the U.S. was growing so much? Not really. It was really more that Mr. Reagan, oh, by the way, somebody took a poke at Mr. Reagan to remind him exactly who's driving the bus and exactly what his job was. You think you're independent here? Nice try, buddy. Here's a couple bullets here to go flying by your head, just to remind you who's driving the bus here. And he came to Washington and said, yeah, deficit spend, we can spend all the money we want. Well, that's exactly what the banksters want, right? So they dilute the currency, spend tons and tons and tons of money, debt-based system, and what does that do? And the answer is it actually deals with the debt situation from here. Remember LBJ and the war on poverty and 1971, what happened, all that kind of stuff. So they go and they just go on a massive spending spree. Borrow as much money as you possibly can. Spend, spend, spend. Borrow, 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 borrow. And now that you have gone and spent and borrowed and spent and borrowed and been spent and borrowed, that was the whole growth cycle. Now what do you do at this point? And this actually was the end of the last growth cycle right here, basically .com boom. And the problem here is that demographically, everything is a train wreck in the Western society. Basically, everybody's leaving the workforce. Nobody's getting a new job. And so as a result, how are you supposed to maintain these debt levels? The answer turned out to be, we're going to dilute the currency, and anytime anybody shows any weakness, we're just going to go in with this new printed money and we're just going to buy. Anytime there's any weakness, we're going to print a bunch of money out of nowhere and just buy. And every time they do that, the market keeps pushing higher. But if you look at it in real terms, if you just simply say, what is the value of equity versus the number of US dollars that are outstanding, what you actually see is this has basically been a lost 2 decades. And the worst part about it is that there was some clown that came into the executive branch at the beginning of this period here and engineered this wonderful excuse to spend money right, left, and center, money that the U.S. citizens did not have, to fight a war that really, was there, what I found hilarious was after 9/11, the stock market collapsed, of course, and my brokerage business collapsed with it. So I had to go get a part-time job just to make sure the bills were paid. And I used to do teleconferences, use the old, what the hell was the name of that? The Polygon system? I don't know whether you guys remember Polygon. Actually, I think that's the name of your favorite cryptocurrency, Nick. But did video conferences for Executive Committee of Transport Canada. What a weird job, eh? But nonetheless, I literally sat there and I listened to these very highly paid bureaucrats make plans for when Osama bin Laden was going to be coming up into Vancouver Harbor wearing scuba gear because he was about to sink all the cruise ships. Are you serious? We pay these bureaucrats like $100,000, maybe $200,000 a year salary? I mean, they're mindless drones as it is. To sit there and make plans about Osama bin Laden carrying out terrorist attacks in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada? What are you, on drugs? Well, yeah. I mean, this is the weird society that we live in. And what was worse is that I sat there in these meetings and I would just be giggling And these people would be looking at me with an incredibly straight face going, well, this is very serious, don't you know? You better get your act together. And I'm sitting there going, you have got to be fucking kidding me. He wears a turban. How are you going to have a turban underwater? Have you ever seen anybody wearing a scuba outfit with a turban and one of those big, long, white garbs that they wear? I mean, come on. It was just stupid. So it's like we've completely lost, like there's no logic to any of this. It's not like, like supply meets demand. And the reason why is because the banksters control our society, and the only way that they can keep the Fugazi going is this now is a never-ending loop, right? It never ends. U.S. debt clock. As soon as the banksters take over and they say, you know what, you can now, do your whole economy based on debt, and the whole money system is debt, well, now we're trapped in this nightmare. And you can't get out of this nightmare. There's only one way this nightmare ends. That's the whole damn system collapses. So having said all that, what I think has to happen here is we have to have a Bretton Woods event. So if you want a nice little homework assignment, what the fuck is Bretton Woods? The question I would have for someone watching this is who's in control of the world right now? Because whoever's in control of the world, they're the ones who are going to be dictating the terms of the next Bretton Woods. So maybe you need to do a side assignment and research what Bretton Woods is. My hunch is we're going to be having a Bretton Woods event here probably I would say within the next 5 years. I believe, of course, that the United States of America is very much at the helm here of the world. What we might find, like I said, is you might actually find, I see a lot of correlation between the way the US dollar index moves and Bitcoin. You might actually find that it turns out, remember Silk Road and all of this stuff, you might actually find out that the US government and maybe even the banksters themselves are actually sitting on a massive chunk of this Bitcoin story. And you might find that actually they're going to this new Bretton Woods, sort of the 21st century, it might actually be like an index that has Bitcoin in it as one of its ways to validate the value of whatever this new currency system is that we're using. And my hunch is it's going to have the my hunch is whatever this new thing is, it's probably going to have something associated with crypto and with Bitcoin on it. But the worst part about all of this is I guarantee you that will be on your new currency. I guarantee you the people that are controlling this world, somebody over there says Rockefellers, who knows, it could be any one of them, eh? And the irony of it all is it's probably like a cabal, right, of about like 50 of them. It's not just one person. It's like a whole sort of group of them. But I guarantee you, whatever the new currency is, my hunch is it's going to be something along these lines. But I absolutely guarantee you it is going to have that image on it. Because that is right there. And ironically enough, this isn't even Jerome Powell. This is Jerome Powell's bosses, who you never see. And you probably never will see. So, the issue of the question of why does Brian like the US dollar versus the other shit around the world? I thought it was really interesting. Mr. Druckenmiller actually answered it perfectly in his comment. I don't know. Did you guys read? Did you guys read Mr. Druckenmiller's comment here? And frankly speaking, I would strongly suggest you do. Where did I have Mr. Druckenmiller? I think he actually answers it right here. So, what we need to do is we need to ask ourselves, who's driving the bus? And Mr. Druckenmiller here, right? He's basically saying, what are your alternatives? Like, the reason why it took a wheelbarrow of money to buy a loaf of bread in Germany in the 1920s was because there were realistic alternatives. People got their money out of there, put it in British pounds. And really, people got their money out of Germany and put it into the United States of America. But the point here, I thought this was absolutely perfect statement, where he basically said, and I got to find it here for you, because it's basically exactly what I think. Right here. So, should the Fed continue with its actions, the dollar's status as a global reserve currency could soon come to a halt. I agree with that, and I actually think there's going to be some sort of Bretton Woods restructuring event here that's coming next couple years. Like Klaus and his fucking never let a crisis go to waste. And this, of course, I think is the most important. As a result, the world will be in need of a suitable replacement, which could be tricky, right? Because I don't think any of us trust China. I don't think Mr. Druckenmiller is going to go fucking put his family, I think he calls it like his family fund, or what do they call the name of these things down in the States now? They call it like a family business or something like that. The fact that he's managing $100 billion is in his family business. I mean, gee whiz. But the point being that, I mean, I've told Nick, and I don't know, Ben, if you've been around the site long. Actually, both, maybe neither of you have. What do you guys think about, what does Brian usually say about when somebody suggests that, hey, I'm going to go invest my money in China?
You have apprehensions, to say the least.
Slightly. I don't know whether you've ever heard of the term two Michaels. So as a Canadian, fuck you, China. Give us our Michaels back. Thank you very much. And I don't really care if China... There's going to be a bunch of these Chinese jerk-off fanboys that are going to downvote these videos. I don't really care. As long as two Michaels are sitting there trapped in fucking living in hell in China, I hate China. So, point of the matter here is, could you actually realistically go and invest your money in China and expect like a friendly rule of law that actually is based on a constitution, that's based on things like, I don't know, a jury trial? Imagine that. You actually be tried by an impartial jury? Good fucking luck. It's just not going to happen. And if anything, I love that Mr. Druckenmiller just came basically out and said, nobody trusts China, and frankly speaking, I wouldn't suggest you get in the business of trusting China either. That's dangerous. And then what I love about his next comment, well, Europe is just a fucking mess. So, what are you supposed to do? What's your alternative? Remember, 20 years ago, the US dollar index was absolutely insanely expensive. It was very, very high. And I don't know, this is kind of totally derailed tonight's broadcast, but I don't know. Hopefully you guys over on YouTube are getting some value out of this. But I wanted to just quickly show you that US dollar chart. Like, if you haven't looked at this before, you probably just look at this image, and it's just really, really simple. I'm one of those guys, keep it simple, stupid. So I'm not going to try and overthink this, but you tell me. There is the peak in the US dollar at that dot-com boom, and that's at 120. And then into the U.S. financial asset crisis, that was actually the bottom of the cycle. Quantitative easing, all that shit comes out, right? There's the bottom. Ironically enough, we're actually just about midpoint. But I would argue that by the time we get to that, you can, and hopefully you can even see the sine wave. Can you see the sine wave? Right? It should look something like that. So when I say I'm US dollar bullish, the cycles, of course, our next cycle peak is this 2030, 31, 32, 33 area. That's when I expect this US dollar to top out. And so, why am I bullish? It's simply because the US was in a horrible demographic situation here. They've actually dealt with it now. We're on the other side of that event now. And I would actually make the argument, if you see the economic data, it's starting to happen. You know, in Canada I don't know whether you're aware, Canada last quarter actually shrank. What's weird is, I look out my fucking window, and these stupid fucking developers keep building these buildings. Hello? Canada, the country, its GDP actually contracted last quarter. This country is shrinking. Why the fuck do they keep building these buildings? It doesn't make any sense. And the worst part about this is exactly what I remember from 1980. I was alive through that. I was only 10 years old. I mean, the sad part about it is these motherfucking people that oh, now you got me all excited. But these people that drive our economy, do you think it's an accident that you cannot see data on this thing prior to 1986? Do you think the 1% wants you to be able to analyze that last cycle turn? No, they don't. So they actually do this where, you know, somebody wants to go out and say, okay, I'm going to study what's going on here. And they don't even give you the data to be able to study this. And that's what's so frustrating about this, is everywhere you turn, the 1%, the banksters, they're trying to, you can see it. If you know what to look for, you can see how they're manipulating the system. And it's terrible. And I don't know when this ends. It's so frustrating. But anyway, so there's a number of different conversations here, but the simple answer, why, Brian, are you a US dollar bull? I'm going to have to defer to Mr. Druckenmiller and just simply say, where the fuck else are you going to put your money in this world? Are you going to listen to Justin Trudeau? Have any of you actually listened to this guy? He actually said recently, it's not the job of the government of Canada to dictate interest rate policy and monetary policy. It's the job of the central bank. Sorry, sir. Go back to substitute teaching drama class, and maybe let's hire someone for the role of Minister of Finance. Right now we have Barbie, who has a degree in ancient European, Eastern European cultures. What the fuck? And she's the finance minister? What the hell is going on in this world? It drives you nuts. I wouldn't know if it's so funny is I sit on the on our site, therationalinvestor.com, and I tell everybody on a daily basis, I gotta get my money the fuck out of this country. This is a nightmare. I do not want to have my money in Canada right now. I want it out. And as you can see from Mr. Druckenmiller, I mean, these are the big areas. Like Mr. Druckenmiller kind of looks at Canada and just goes, well, Mr. Drunken, Canada, what the fuck is that? Maybe you go skiing up there or something, but I wouldn't put serious money into work into Canada. He's like so big, it's either USA, China, or Europe. Are you going to trust the Chinese? I mean, seriously, are you going to trust China with $1 billion? Winnie the Pooh? You go over there and you call him Winnie the Pooh, and he's going to literally shoot you. And he has all the legal right to, if he wants to. What's worse is he's actually going to throw you in jail, and he's going to torture you, and he's going to love watching you in pain. That's the worst part about these people. So I think that's why, number one, I hate to say it, folks, I would be the type of person that I would be like, fuck, man, we we got to fight for this U.S. Constitution. I'm fearful that the citizens of this country of Canada, now we have an election coming up here in a few weeks. If we're really lucky, the people will take the power back in this country from the banksters. But I got a sneaky suspicion that the whole sickness and all that kind of stuff, it's going to ensure that the Klaus and the lizard people and all that, thank you, Traveling, they maintain control. And like I said, I actually like and the irony of it all is that, Mr. Trudeau doing really well here. He's actually laying the groundwork that Mr. Trump is going to come walking right back into office in a few years. And then our lives might get really interesting. Oh, God. So, I don't know. What do you think, Ben? Or who asked me that question? Nick. Does that help at all?
I think you answered it.
Oh, there's Nick. Does that help at all to explain why I'm a U.S. dollar bull right now?
Among other things, yeah.
Just as I have an immense respect for Mr. Druckenmiller. And if Mr. Druckenmiller, he's like, the U.S. dollar's the shit. But these guys at the banksters, they're fucking this thing up. But where else are you going to put your money in this world? And I'll tell you, I'd be much rather happier to take my chances on the U.S. system and guys like Druckenmiller holding Mr. Powell to account than trusting someone like Justin Trudeau right now, or Winnie the Pooh, or Klaus and all those gangs over in Europe. You think they're smarter? Oh my goodness. God, this is a train wreck, I'll tell you. Anyway, I probably wasted a good half hour, 45 minutes, but I hope that was a pretty clear explanation of why I'm a U.S. dollar bull. All right, well, what the hell should we do here, folks? Gentlemen, I'm sure you're immensely disappointed with me here tonight. Let's put this away.
I think I'm never disappointed with you, Brian.
All right, maybe I'm disappointed in myself. What should we look at?
We're looking at 0x next, which is ZRX.
All right, ZRX. Jeez, you got me all wound up about the damn U.S. dollar there.
I did. I'm sorry.
That's not an answer. That's not a question that you can answer in like one sentence, right? I mean, there's so many parts to it, right? All right, so ZRX USD.
Real quick with ZRX, it was one of like the first DeFi projects.
Oh, and interesting.
It has a decentralized exchange called Matcha, which is kind of like it's a competitor to those like Uniswap and SushiSwap and all of those.
So is it very centralized then?
So no, it should be complete. As far as I know, it is very decentralized.
So then it's not like sushi.
Sure, I think sushi is a lot more decentralized than centralized at this point.
But that was the whole point about sushi, was that it's sort of Binance's sort of centralized decentralization, right?
Yeah, I don't know what it does on Binance, but I mean sushi's also on Ethereum and Avalanche and Polygon and a bunch of other places.
Okay.
But I mean, 0x is essentially it's almost like DeFi infrastructure at this point. It's an aggregator, and they allow any other protocol to build on top of it. And so if you're using things like Uniswap or other DEXs, you're probably under the covers using 0x in some respect.
Okay. Trendline support. Interesting, it's tough to really sort of get a start point. I doubt that the start looked like that, but interesting if we do like foggy boggies. We'll probably come up with some half decent upside objectives here. Where are we here? 4.669, 877s. So, boom, boom, boom. Look at that 877, eh? Isn't that
Wow.
insane? It's incredible when you see that stuff. And then I suppose you could also do another one off of here. Oh, and gee whiz. So can you see the whole sort of confluence idea? You could add both of these. Right? And this is where I really like the chaos theory. Is it's very different, so it's going to really help you see confluence. So here, if you were setting an upside objective on this thing, the fact that we have two foggy boggies, especially off of this massive formation, and then off of this little one, painting levels right in here, that to me, I'd be like, it's a no-brainer. We're heading up into that area. So if you're going to learn how to use that tool, fucking A, man. That's worth putting up with Brian's bullshit, rants about US dollar and stuff. So I would get the impression that this is the end of the move, and of course, remember what we said. What's our rule about May, Ben? How does that go?
One sec, he's unmuted.
Looks like we lost him. I think he fell asleep halfway through. Tricky dig this, tricky dig that.
Walk away.
Hey, there he is. What was that again? Sorry.
Sell in May and walk away.
Yeah, so pretty good analogy of seasonality. Also, too, what do we call this action when you look at your indicators and you see this image? Does this should this give you pause? Higher highs in price, lower highs in momentum indicators. Is that a good sign if you're a bull?
No.
No. So you can clearly see, you should have been ringing the register. Ching, 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 ching. Fucking home run. Lambo's on me. To hell with the system. Let's go buy an island. Right? That's really what you should have been thinking there. And the irony of it all is that was when that Allen guy was on Saturday Night Live making a total fool of himself. And speaking of which, I mean, let's just for the record, I'll come right back to this, but how are people doing that listened to Allen and bought his nonsense? They're still getting their asses kicked. So thanks, Allen. Love you, babe. Not. So, this kind of story, what do you do now? I like the fact that you're saying it's, pretty big player in the DeFi space. We have a simple rule at TRI. What do you think? Is it a good idea for us to be thinking about buying this asset if we come up and bang up against that trend line there?
I would say no.
Yeah. It's probably a bit dangerous.
Seems like there's a lot of other charts you've drawn up over the weeks where there's been a lot of room between the price and that trend line, so it seemed like you could still get a decent trade in. This definitely seems...
Well, so remember we said, and remember I said we've seen a lot of charts look exactly like this recently, eh? So this is exactly the same as that other one. What does this chart pattern kind of look like? Let's see. I don't know where the best place. I think you got to go here, like there to there to there. Well, it's not really the best, eh? No, actually, I think it's off of here. That's what I did here. So we go. I'm not quite sure. Maybe there? That's an interesting one. This looks like a head, and it almost looks like the right shoulder. This is where I need David O. He's so good at these. But do you see how, remember that first one that we looked at? It looks somewhat the same as this. So I've seen a lot of cryptocurrencies all kind of look like this here. I don't know whether that's a legit head and shoulders or not, and also too, well, I mean, you can see we did make lower lows, but the MACD histogram didn't really get that big breakout push in momentum here. But hopefully you can see the similarity with that other name that we looked at. I think it's the same thing. I see a lot of names have done this sort of slow lift through the end of the summer, while things like Luna and that Sol are all going absolutely nuts. I see a lot of names have done this slow grind higher, eh? Would you agree with me?
Yeah, I think most of the market is kind of just rebounded steadily off the bottoms.
Yeah. Has this thing failed yet? No. Is it getting a little dangerous? Well, our good old divergences. Notice, actually, that's not what I want. Notice the, and I don't know whether that's a legit head and shoulders, but I just wanted to sort of illustrate that. But notice as we're coming up into this trend line, what do you think the odds are 38.2s are like in that area? Remember we talked about that also earlier. So if we go there to there, is this actually still a bear? Keep in mind this big fucking M up here, right? That's a big M. That's a I'm a bear, get out of my way signal. And we never really did get a very clean W here, did we? I mean, this is all open air right there. So, what I see here is we probably did what they affectionately call a dead cat bounce. And that dead cat bounce should bounce into 38.2s. So there's 38.2. We'll take out foggies off of that. That looks right. And lo and behold, exactly the same image as that other name we looked at earlier, eh? Identical. So I'm a little worried, if anything, what this kind of shows me is I think actually this is your head and shoulders. Now, is it just this really little tight consolidation and up we go? I don't like that. If anything, what I would prefer to see is actually what I would prefer to see, believe it or not, is us bump along here, then have a serious correction in that September-October time period, just like I'm expecting out of Bitcoin and shit. Maybe the U.S. government comes out and they start talking about, well, we're going to outlaw DeFi or something like that. I don't like the fact that just in the short term, you've got this bear dips, right? You see a lot higher highs, but look at momentum. We're actually making lower highs and lower lows. That's bad. Bad, bad, bad. So I can't really be a buyer here. I think we're in the process of trying to figure out whether this thing actually has bottomed or not. And like they said, that's kind of a V bottom here. So I don't even think that this thing actually has officially, quote unquote, bottomed. And as I said, I've told you guys repeatedly over the past weeks, I don't really want to get bullish on names like this until we get W's on the other side of this trend line. Until that happens, this has got danger written all over it here. So, that's my 2 cents there. It's a good looking name though, on the pullbacks against this long-term trend line, like you said, probably a core name in the crypto space. Do you want to go and add? Keep in mind, I own almost all of these. I do own this stuff. I probably sold tons of halves on doubles the last rally, so I'll be long this stuff forever with my sell half on a double strategy. But if I wanted to do something like reload, I might simply draw my reload zones, 61.8 to 78.6. And that's where I'm going to be shopping. And actually, this is kind of cool because David O, he loves his head and shoulders as is. And I do like this as long as this low here is not taken out. So if this thing, if the head and shoulders, the right shoulder here comes in anywhere in the reload zone, I think you're good to go. So if I wanted to be a buyer, that's what I want to see going forward. And it's interesting, I still think wholeheartedly, folks, that there's some sort of dumpage that has to happen here in October, and that's speaking to this. So something's coming down the pike. That's my opinion. We'll see how it goes. Tough for me, just like the corn. It's very, very difficult for me to come in and justify buying that there. I can't do it. It would be exactly the same on this thing. I couldn't come in and buy that. It's just, that's breaking every fucking rule of Toyland. And I would want to try and hunt some sort of entry down here if I really wanted to get in on this. And keep in mind, right, there is the big fat long-term trend line. if you can get long this thing somewhere off of that level, that's not terrible. And like good old fibs, reload zones, you can see that whole range. Basically, this is actually going to set up. You probably heard on the site. Have you ever heard me talk about reload zones within reload zones?
Yep.
So that would be a really, really good example of that. Again, think confluence of levels, guys. That's the key here. Please, if you're watching this and you want to learn how to get better at trading, think confluence. Can I get a number of reasons that all suggest that, hey, if this thing comes down into this area right here, and this is why I tell people, you can get the indicator part of your analysis wrong. And, some people really like some indicators and they swear by them. And I've seen a lot of times, a lot of indicators, they just fall apart every once in a while. Too many people watch the same signal and it just becomes almost a trap. But I'll tell you, if you get trade location correct, you can get away with a lot of shitty trading, indicator-wise, price structure-wise, as long as you get location correct. And, here's a good example. If you came in and you were able to buy down in this area, maybe it initially carves out a W, but then goes and breaks the W, and actually it turns out that this was actually a head and shoulders. Happens all the time. But the point here is, because you forced yourself to wait for that reload zone within reload zone against a trend line, you can actually be pretty sloppy in your trading and still be okay at the end of the day, believe it or not. And if anything, I like this kind of scenario because you're going to get a fuck you. You're going to get the trap against the trend line. Then you get the trend line break. Then you get the W on the other side. David O goes, well, that's a valid head and shoulders. I got to get long. And it's on the other side of the trend line. Reload zone within reload zone. All right, let's rock and roll. What do you think? Does that make sense?
Yep.
So, maybe we'll just leave it at the two names there tonight. Because, well, no, actually, we've got another 15 minutes. Should we sneak in one more?
Yeah, we can do another one quick.
All right. What do you think, Ben? You enjoying yourself tonight?
I'm down. Yeah. Loving it.
Good. How's the little one? Did she run out of steam yet?
I think she just went down. Yeah.
So what you're saying is you don't want me to just yell, "Wake up!" right now? Sorry.
Please.
So I'm gonna say again, too late to buy. Hearing good FA opinions. Would like W on other side of trend line as illustrated in chart. All right, what do you think? Oh, you guys are not writing comments tonight? I guess
that one's Derek.
Oh, yeah, that's why. Sorry. So, not going to buy, but fundamentals are interesting. Good fundamentals. All right. And what's Ben think? Ben, no comment. All right, why don't we do one more? And then that way, of course, what that means is we're got to get together again next Wednesday. But I hope you guys enjoyed tonight. A little bit different. I don't know. I mean, we got 15 minutes. Maybe if Nick does the buzzer, maybe we can get 3 more done here. Who knows?
Okay. Well, we can start with Bancor, which is BNT.
BNT.
Yep.
Okay. Where do we want to look at this?
I'd probably the bottom one.
Okay.
Yeah. So Bancor is another DEX.
There you go. Doesn't this look? This feels like deja vu.
Yeah. It does have a pretty interesting. It has some unique qualities to it that separate it from other DEXs. It has some benefits to liquidity providers, which are actually pretty useful. That a lot of other, actually, I don't even know if any other DEXs do, where they will eventually, if you provide liquidity for long enough, they will take away your risk of they will take away some of your risk. I don't want to get into liquidity, like providing liquidity, but it is a very unique benefit for decentralized exchanges.
All right.
And I think a lot of the people I follow in crypto that are very tech oriented, that look for like the best tech, they like Bancor a lot.
All right.
I think I went on the website and was taking a look at Bancor, and it looked like you could do a limit order on the DEX. Is that?
Ooh.
'Cause I haven't seen that anywhere else.
I know with Stuart. I mean, this is a funny story, totally off topic, but what the hell, Brian? Oh no, wait a minute. Do we want an off topic? Do I want to go off on a tangent here? What do you think? I'm gonna leave it up to you two.
Do we want to get through a couple more?
I don't know. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. They all look the same to me at the end of the day.
Okay, we can tangent though.
All right.
The tangent is where the magic usually happens.
All right. Well, we'll see how it goes. It's kind of funny. This is a funny story, in that we were, and I'll say that I absolutely love listening to you guys who are actually smart in this space talk about the technology. It's enjoyable. There's no way in hell I am ever going to be at the speed that you guys are. It's great on Mondays on TRI. We have Stuart come in, talk all about DeFi and his adventures in Luna, and he walks through all the different I don't know, he's got a whole bunch of models and stuff like that. And we have Julian, who's going to be on the Daily Brief tomorrow morning with his baby powder report. And he's made friends with a few people on the site that are super DeFi enthusiastic. And Julian's, of course, really heavily into the NFT, the video game tokens, all that kind of stuff. And hats off to you. Love you guys. You're the best. You're the awesomest. But I am never going to be smart at that stuff. In fact, I was even joking that this whole MetaMask and stuff like that, and how your browser, like extension, that stuff scares the shit out of me. So, point of the matter here is one gentleman that I highly respect in the space, Chico Crypto Chico? I don't know what his name is. I think the name Chico Crypto is because he lives in Chico, California. But everybody tells me his name, and I always forget. I think his name's Tyler? Is that right? Tyler? I think that's his name. Anyway, very enjoyable to listen to. Smart as a fucking whip. And he had a bunch of names that he was all excited about. And if his name's not Tyler, please somebody correct me and let's just make sure we have the right
I think it's Tyler. I'm trying to remember.
All right. Thank you, Oscar. Yeah, Oscar's actually down there in California, so it's right around the corner. I've told people this before. I don't give a shit how you get your signals. I do not care. I mean, for a guy like me, I want to see 3 unrelated reasons, technically, to justify me stepping in on a market. And I actually rely on industry experts. One of the ways I used to hunt for stock picks is we used to go through industry trade magazines and just look for the award winners. Who won best new disk drive manufacturer of 1998? And then obviously we're going to watch that stock because they've got a pretty hot product that people are buying. Blah 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 blah. So the point here is, I actually like to defer to you guys for my fundamental research in this space, whether it be Sjord and Luna, whether it be Julian and his NFTs and tokens. And man, he's got one, what was that, Axia or something like that he was involved in?
Yep.
Jesus.
Axia Infinity.
Just, so these guys know the stories and they're kicking ass. So, Chico, I think he does great work. And I'm not Mr. DeFi, so actually what I had to do was I actually had to reach out to another site member, Sharktoshi, and get him to buy them for me on the old DeFi thing. And then when the dust settled down, I got them transferred over to Sjord. Sjord sort of took over managing them. But the funny thing is about this is that, I mean, and we bought this thing like down here, right? I mean, pretty good trade, feeling pretty good. And of course, the damn thing has got absolutely apeshit. But the problem here is, it wasn't a hell of a lot of money. It was like $500 or something that we put in. Of course, Brian, I just simply want to say, bang out double. Anybody watches me on Twitter, banging out doubles. It's what I do, right? So I'm telling Stuart, okay, Stuart, looks like things rallying. We're probably twice our purchase price. Can you please let some go? Easier said than done, my friend. And this is the one thing that kind of bugs me about this whole DeFi thing, is it was damn difficult to get this damn thing sold. And I actually had to transfer Ethereum over to Sjord so he could pay the gas fee to actually do the transaction. Which, I don't know whether that's a funny anecdote or not, but I'll tell you, it's not an endearing thing about this. It's something that gives me great amount of pause. And just as I think Ben said there with another story is, hey, these guys, you can at least do limit orders with these things. From what I understand in DeFi, you can't even do like limit orders, can you?
Well, interestingly enough, with Bancor you can. Essentially, though, it's not like a true limit order. What it is, and a couple exchanges do this now, but it will be seen as an arbitrage opportunity. Some people will say, I want to buy coin A at $1, and then the price might drop to 95 cents, and the order size is enough to where an arbitrager can come buy it for 95, essentially fill that order at $1, and they can pocket the 5-cent difference. Oh, so you get it at your $1, but someone else is making a little money off of that.
Yeah, that's a bit suspicious. And it's one thing I don't like about this is that this actually opens up that avenue where the Gary Gesslers, is that guy's name? I always get it wrong. I always want to call him Gessler, but I don't think that's
Gensler?
Right. Yeah, the new SEC guy who's driving the bus there. If he's going to start looking at this and going, there's guys that are manipulating the prices here to finesse fills and stuff like that. This is borderline illegal market manipulation, people. Be careful here. I don't like the smell of this at all. I don't know how this plays out, and of course, anybody who can make money before the big boys come and shit on this space, rock on, make as much money as you possibly can. Remember, for those people who have been around, if you haven't been around since 2017, go do yourself a favor and do some research. But 2018 was a very, very painful year of basically straight down. Hello, crypto trading is hard.
Good name.
There's an interesting name. So, sadly, what I'm worried about here is that, can you see, by them bidding the price of these kind of assets up to the moon like this, do you see how well now we could probably take a whole year and just slowly work our way back down kind of idea and drive everybody crazy? I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen here. Frankly speaking, I think this shit's probably going to go even higher here in the short term. But I'm a little concerned, and this is an interesting anecdote. It was damn difficult for Sjord to actually sell this into the marketplace here today and make sure that we didn't get screwed on the fills. So, oh god, tough. This is a tricky game. You guys are all getting really excited about here. Very tricky game. And if anything, if you're watching this YouTube video and you're by yourself, for God's sakes, get into some sort of trading community where you can sort of huddle and you can like kick around ideas, and you have a group of people that you're working with. If you're working on your own in this space, it's tricky, folks. Just like Mr. Crypto is trading is hard. If you're trading all this on your own and you're trying to figure it out on your own, it's making it even harder. So, whether it be TRI, I think we have an awesome community. But, I'm not going to shill you TRI. If you want to go and join Colin at Hero, I think they do a great job. Colin's a very wise gentleman. And I'd be surprised, I suppose, I don't know if people like Chico have like an actual community where you can sort of rub, ideas back and forth without you being shilled products. I just don't know. I've never been inside his world. But, if anything, that's the one big thing that is a huge selling feature at TRI is our community. All right, so back to our story here, BNT. Ironically enough, I would actually say, just looking at this, that actually there's your trading range. It's very well defined. And in a weird sort of way, this looks like a little bit almost like a bastardized version of those head and shoulders patterns that, like I told you at the very beginning of this video here tonight, I see this kind of price action all over the market here. And so I think that looks like that. It's uglier than shit. It's terrible looking price action. And of course, if we do all our fibs, same sort of thing. We'll do the confluence study. So is this still a bear? We need to ask ourselves whether 38.2s are still valid here. We can't even get into the conversation of 61.8s yet. But why don't we leave those on there just if we can. So same sort of thing. You can see the candle body highs, all these highs up in here. That is 38.2. Probably if we do something like, a head and shoulders projection, you'll see that, oh yeah, gee whiz, that's pointing up into that area. And the problem here is, gee whiz, how can you chase that? Oh, goodness. Same thing as I said there a few minutes ago. If I did really want to buy this thing, I would just do my reload zones within reload zones. Interesting how these recent lows, look how it rallied up, banged right against 38.2, said, nope, I'm not ready to break down yet. So we haven't actually broken down. But if I did want to buy, you can see reload zone within reload zone. This is going to be a little trickier because you can see the low here goes probably all the way down to like 88.6s. I would be thinking, let's have Miss Yellen come out and shit on the space. Let's have Gessler come out and shit on the space. Let's get a nice washout, something along those lines, and away we go. The only problem here is any kind of rally, once we get up into this area, ideally I suppose it would be better if we could just blast our way straight up into here through 38.2s. Maybe we get that. We might if we're lucky. I can't really be a buyer here, but if you did buy off the lows or if you were long from these original bottoms, well, maybe let them have some if you didn't up in here. But my hunch is, same sort of thing. I said before, there's a bunch of moon boys that are all long through this big pump here. If we can get those rallies back up into that area, of course, there's good old reload short zone, right up in that area. Mountain Man, you've heard me talk about him before. If we can get up into there, my hunch is all these, fanboys, moon boys, whatever, they're going to want to get off the couch and probably sell into that rally. So, too late to buy, probably too early to sell. That's the way I would look at it. All right. Well, hopefully that's some value to somebody out there in the internet world. What do you think? Any value? Maybe yes, maybe no.
No, it's definitely value. I just keep thinking about this. I don't know. I won't necessarily call it probable, but possible dump that we're having at the end of September, and I'm kind of wetting my chops at being able to get a bunch of cheap crypto again.
Well, that's just it. But you live down in the United States, so what's going to happen if Mr. Gessler comes out and says, "Well, from now on, you have to register every single one of your private keys"? Kaboom! Be interesting to see how that plays out.
I mean, for one, I'll be fine registering my stuff. I pay my taxes. I do everything.
Okay, good.
But I know a lot of people probably don't. So,
the way I would look at it is probably exactly what you just said there, is that this isn't going to be a deal breaker for crypto. A lot of crypto, of course, loves, things like open ledgers and stuff like that. What this is going to be a deal breaker for is things like the anonymous coins. I think those guys, they could be in a bit of trouble here. And I'm very concerned about things like stable coins that compete with the U.S. Treasury. And since we know that Goldman Sachs owns the U.S. Treasury, what we're really saying here is don't, if you're a stablecoin fan, be very, very careful. Very, very careful. I do see things like, Mr. Novogratz is super insanely bullish of the Luna story. I know Luna does have a version of a stable coin that they're trying to use and play with. Be interesting to see what Mr. Novogratz's opinion of how this stable coin scenario plays out. If anybody's a fan of him, poke him if you happen to know his Twitter handle or something like that. Be really interesting to get his take on how all this stablecoin stuff's going to play out and how it would affect something like Luna's stablecoin. That's a question I would have. So, okay, that is 8 o'clock. Why don't we get together again next week? We'll try and do all this again. I hope you guys enjoyed the edutainment tonight. I haven't done this in a little bit, so as a result, I had a little bit of verbal diarrhea I wanted to get out there. And then, of course, somebody asked me about what I thought about the U.S. dollar. Oh, Jesus. That's a potion for disaster. So, why don't we leave it at that? I'm going to say, as I said there, and you're seeing hopefully the theme here. Too late to buy, same as before. Not terrible. Whoops. Not a terrible FA story, but the question I would have is why would I want to participate in this versus some other DeFi story like Luna. Derek, we'll wait for him for next week. Good fundamentals, often overlooked for competitors. Cool. And Ben's not really a big talker tonight, eh? Wait for a pullback.
Yeah, I wasn't super impressed how this particular DeFi project didn't really rally with the rest, so that would be my other comment for it.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. I mean, I think a rising tide lifts all boats. That's sort of why this thing has moved up here recently. But considering things like what Luna did, woohoo! What SOL did, woohoo! It looks to me like these guys got left behind, eh? So I think that's a good point, a valid point. And I also noticed too a lot of my shitcoins, because I did a shitcoin 5000 challenge. None of them have really gone down from where I bought them. They're all just sort of doing nothing, kind of like this. I went in like June, July, August. Well, not so much August, but June, July. I went in and bought things like Ethereum doubled. Things like Luna, fucking 10x. OMG, all those kind of names, all nice returns. But a lot of these little ones, they don't really do anything too exciting. I suppose you could argue that is a double. That is $2-3, and here we are. Well, we're 4.5, so not quite. So yeah, I think I'd probably agree with you, Ben. Like, why was this thing not participating? I think probably because there just isn't any great, sexy reason to be in this, right? Okay.
That's what I'm thinking.
So, what do you think? You guys up for doing this again next Wednesday?
of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why don't we call it a night there? That's 2 hours. I'm going to go have my dinner now. Thank you so much, Nick and Ben, for your assistance here tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the walk through the charts. I think I don't know whether I told you, I didn't really mention it tonight, but the whole reason why I did this show to begin with if you did find any value in this, I would really like to set up a booth for TRI in Decentraland. And I've just asked that if you did find value in this, this is the ETH wallet that I've set up for donations. It's in the description. If you feel like donating a buck or two to help us get that booth going, I'd really appreciate it. So PMA for the win. Thank you so much, Ben and Nick. And I don't know Nick. You were more active tonight. Ben, you're a slacker, so I'm gonna give the job to Nick tonight. Just kidding, but Nick, if you could do us the honors. The only thing left for us to say this evening is
bye for now.